And welcome back to Hannity. Joining us is now a man who needs no introduction. Author of now the best-selling book, Killing England, The Brutal Struggle for American Independence. Bill O'Reilly, how are you? It's good to see you.
I'm here. I'm alive. And the spin stops here.
Right? No, whoa. You got to go all the way back like you did it. You know, the people want to see it.
No.
Well, it's good to see.
Thank you.
How are you? And do you miss the daily grind of...
No, I was in the ocean all summer, and I had a great time. I'm fine. I'm teed off. But first, I want to tell everybody, last night, Hannity kicked MSNBC's butt.
No, say it. You can say ass.
Hey.
He's taking over. 5 seconds in.
Stop. Okay. Didn't beat that woman. Didn't eke by. Slaughtered her. And here's the reason. The people, and I'm a person, I know some people don't believe that, are angry about this NFL because it's a much bigger story than football players. And I want to address this comment to the NFL players today, and they'll get this. When the Jaguars and the Ravens were over in London and they kneeled down on a foreign soil and then they stood up for the British national anthem,
God save the Queen.
I was angry and sad, because I don't believe those players know what they're doing. About 3,000 miles east of you, there are American military people in Kandahar, Afghanistan, whose entertainment revolves around the Armed Forces Network that broadcasts football games. Now, I was over there in 7. I watched football games with them. Can you imagine putting your life on the line in Afghanistan and having just a leisure time and wanting to watch a football game and seeing your players, your American players, disrespect the country and the flag on foreign soil? Can you imagine how painful that was?
How could they possibly not know?
They don't know.
Why do you give these?
They don't
most
know.
of these players, they're the best of the best. I have great respect for their athletic talent, their ability, their agility, their hard work. They went to college, Bill. Most of the kids play college ball.
It's a mob mentality. It is a anti-Trump demonstration. That's what it's morphed into. But there's two kinds of dissent, and nobody is saying the players don't have a right to their opinion about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You do. And if you want to feel America is an evil country where the white supremacists stalk innocent blacks, if you want to believe that, you're free to believe it. But it's not true. It's not true. So there's informed dissent, and then there's pack dissent. And that's where we're into now, pack dissent. Okay, so he says one thing, I say another, and the league and the owners have lost control of it. But the American people, I firmly believe 65%, maybe 70% of the American people do not like this situation, are offended by this situation.
How much of this is related? I played President Obama. He rushed to judgment when it came to Baltimore and Freddie Gray, and it never happened, hands up, don't shoot, and Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. Now, I learned when I was in Atlanta, local radio guy, you don't rush to judgment. That was in the Richard Jewell case. But the president at the time rushed to judgment. That narrative, people believe hands up, don't shoot happened.
A lot of people believe propaganda, and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, one of the reasons I wrote Killing England is that everybody can now know what really happened and how we got our freedom. I'd love to go to every NFL locker room and give these guys the book. Would they read the book? Most of them would not. Because, again, they're caught up in emotion. This is emotion what's happening now. But the wider picture is, and you pointed it out in your monologue, the far left wants to drive the narrative that the USA is an evil country. Why? They want to change everything. The Constitution, the economic system, the leadership, the electoral system. They want to cross-the-board change.
I want to get to that.
They use stuff like this. They use it. These players are being used.
Where does this, in your opinion, all end? I think they're in a quandary. They're in a dilemma now. And we kind of tried to see the Dallas Cowboys last night threading the needle. Look at the average family. I grew up in a small Cape Cod house, 3 older sisters, 1 bathroom. By the way, Bill, that's hell on earth. 50 by 100 lot. Seriously. Franklin Square, you know where I grew up.
Yeah.
I grew up there. If you take a family of 4 to a football game, basketball game, baseball game, all right, average ticket about $100.
It's $1,000.
Okay, it's close to a.
It's
you buy
$1,000.
hot dogs.
Yeah.
You buy a jersey.
Right.
You buy all this stuff. It's so much money, and people literally sacrifice and save for that. How are they going to react? How does this end?
Well, first of all, the league is going to have to do something, and what they should do, as I wrote a column for The Hill about it, is say to the players, we know that some of you don't like the country or want to get a point across, but this is the wrong forum. All right, this is not the forum to do it. So if you don't want to stand up for the national anthem, stay in the locker room and then come out. But we don't want any political demonstrations because we don't allow pro-American demonstrations. The league does not allow that. There were many, many Giant players, New York Giant and Jet players, that after 9/11 wanted to show on their uniforms
absolutely
their solidarity with the families.
Bill,
they wouldn't allow it.
We had the slaughter of cops in Dallas.
And
the
they wouldn't allow
Cowboys
it.
Wanted to honor the local police. They wouldn't let them.
They wouldn't let them. So you've got to be consistent. So the league says, all right, you guys who don't want to stand up for the national anthem, you stay in the locker room. After it's over, you can come out. That's it. Okay? All right?
Well, it would be certainly, wouldn't be selective enforcement of the rules. Let me ask you a broader, bigger question, because you talked about this for many years on your show. I know you have your podcast now and your columns, but every 2 and 4 years, and then when we have these other bigger issues emerge, the issue of race, it is used as a wedge issue.
Sure.
The Missouri radio ad that said if you elect Republicans, black churches are going to burn. The James Byrd ad, Al Gore saying when he's running for president to a predominantly black audience, Republicans have the wrong agenda for African Americans, changing his cadence. They don't even want to count you in the census. That is a lie. And it divides the country. And it's dividing the country along racial lines in a way that is hurtful to the country.
And then the media drives it and the entertainers drive it. But there is a reason why it's happening. A year ago, you did not hear the words white supremacist. Didn't hear it. Nobody heard it. It was white privilege. And in my Levittown neighborhood, about 8 miles away from Hannity's Franklin Square
it was miles away.
I had guys, in undershirts that are falling apart going, where's my white privilege? All right? Okay. That's what you had a year ago. It's morphed into white supremacists now. And people are buying it. Why? Because the far left agents, and I think they're evil, want to destroy the Constitution in the sense that they want it all changed. Who forged it? Slave owners, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. We can't have a Constitution with they made. We have to have a new one. That's the end game.
You were on my radio show, and I think this was the most important point you made that I agreed with, that I think is the most dangerous for the country. Because you took on the monument issue. Now you can add the NFL issue.
Right.
And institutions in this country that are under fire every day. I'll add to that the 2 to 4 year playing of the race card, the only one of the big weapons in the playbook of the Democrats. But ultimately you say if they get rid of the monuments, they get rid of our history, they can take a knee during the anthem and diss the flag, then ultimately it's really the Constitution they want to change.
That's right.
I want you to make that point.
They're after they don't want capitalism. They don't want the Electoral College. They don't want white people generally calling the shots. So they have to mobilize minority Americans to be angry. You know, we do this on BillO'Reilly.com almost every night. I'm paralleling you on our website. But if you understand history, and most people don't.
I want to get to that. I don't mean to interrupt you. You know what my favorite part of the game is usually? At the end of the game, you have the best of the best warriors battling it out, fighting. They get in a circle and they say a prayer, Bill.
Right. This is football you're talking about.
In football.
Yeah.
All right. Stay right there. We have some breaking news